Hey, hello, and welcome back to the DeAnda Factor. Oh my goodness, I am so excited about tonight's topic. So I'm going to start with a quote. Um, Find a group of people who challenge and inspire you. Spend a lot of time with them, and it will change your life. This is a quote by Amy Poehler. Sister friends, tribe, squad, community, accountability partners. That's the thing, y'all. So tonight we're going to dive deep and unpack squad goals. But before we do that, I am going to have join me my friend and accountability partner, Malaceo. So let's bring her on in. Hello, hello. Hey, sis.
Hey everyone.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good,
As
good,
you
good.
guys can see, it's morning time.
Yeah, so actually, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the folks where you are presently?
I'm Malaceo. I am a slow traveler. I travel full time, and right now I am in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur.
Ah, nice, nice. So, as I said before, tonight we're going to dive a little deep and unpack the joys, the impact, the benefits of accountability partnerships and how getting in community and disappearing the notion of doing it alone um, is or has been so beneficial to us, to you and I, and how you too can do that. I want to first kind of talk about our connection and how we became accountability partners. And I've spoke about, getting in community, finding your accountability partner on my channel quite a bit, because it is a thing. It is one of those things that I realize that I can't do it alone and I shouldn't have to, especially with all the talented and beautiful people that I have, in my life. So for us, it started in February of this year, actually. We met. It feels like we've known each other forever, but
Yeah,
we
yeah.
physically met in Vietnam. And it was by way of Exodus Summit. You've
Mhm.
heard me talk about Exodus Summit on this channel before, and you will probably continue to because it has been the vehicle, the catalyst to quite a bit of things that's going on in my life. And I think Lacey would agree with me. Some of the things,
It's a
wonderful.
lifestyle at this point.
Yeah,
It's not even just community. It's a lifestyle. They need to
yeah.
probably rebrand at this point.
Right. Yeah. And can you expound on what you mean by lifestyle? Because I know, Exodus Summit is the reason why you're in KL right now. It's
Yes.
like they're the reasons why you decided to, change your life and do this.
So I would say that it is a lifestyle mostly because the way that Exodus Summit is, it does affect every fiber of your life, essentially. So you have just the mindset, because I joined when they was talking about like minimalism and packing and decluttering your life and more like the mental and emotional part of it. So even meeting with other people, then you have to, you know, whether you guys, understand it or like it or not, you sort of become distant from people from home, and then you have to, reconnect. Like I'm in KL right now. I gotta reconnect or find other people who are more like minded or who's doing what I'm doing, right now, and it's a decision that you gotta, make for yourself essentially. So the people that I talk to now, the people that I encounter now are completely different from the people and friends that I used to have back at home in the States. So, especially me coming from a very small town on top of that. So, there's a big difference on, you know, even like what you're eating, being open to just your finances and how you even think about your finances, how you think about your health, how important, because DeAnda, you would say all the time, like you'll sleep when you're dead. And it's that whole changing that mindset is literally
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So it's not just the community or them giving you tools, essentially. I believe it is more so a lifestyle. Because every time I meet people, especially other Black women, you already know. I'm telling everybody about Exodus Summit. If I feel like you're missing something, if I don't know, I know that there's somebody, at least in Exodus Summit, that can help you do whatever you need to do. So, it's having connection, it's having people to go to, is a place for community in any types of community, essentially. So even with me and DeAnda, like being like friends and then also helping each other, like with our channels. And like I said, it's like a whole entire lifestyle. So my life has completely changed from what it was not even a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I will go further and say, so one, Lacey and I, we haven't known each other a full year yet,
Mm-mm.
and I think maybe our second meeting, you were like, okay, I'll be your accountability partner. I'm there for you.
Mhm.
What do you need?
Yeah.
And one of the things that people often think, accountability partner is not necessarily a mentor, but it encompasses mentorship.
Mhm.
An accountability partner is a sister friend. It's all the
Mhm.
things that I said at the top of this call or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it includes it's your tribe, it's your squad, it
Mhm.
is like-minded. You use the phrase like-minded people,
Yeah.
um, connection,
Mhm.
community. That is
Mhm.
what your accountability partner. That is what this accountability partnership encompass. And you don't have to be in the same industry. You don't necessarily
Mhm.
have to be in the same country, because we're not right now. We met in the same country, but we're not presently. But we
Mhm.
check in with one another. And we cry together, we laugh together, we all the we A to Z it all the time.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
I will say that we have a full, like conversation at least once a week. And I say
Yeah.
at least because sometimes it's more than that, but at least once a week.
Mhm.
And, from a business standpoint, it's like, oh, I need to bounce this off of somebody, because
Mhm.
both of us are what you would call kind of solopreneurs. So
Yeah.
you're, kind of working in your own little vacuum.
Mhm.
And you do need, that tribe of that, or that accountability partner. Just, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Okay, well, let's unpack that. That's something that I would say to you. It's like, let's
Yes.
unpack that.
Yes.
And, vice versa. It's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, DeAnda, but
Mhm.
have you thought about it from, this angle or this perspective? And sometimes that's all you need to go to the next level, you know. And yes, Exodus Summit has been a major part in helping to develop that, helping to add momentum to that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and it's I mean, some people think, oh, well, accountability partners, I don't really know anybody who works in the same field as me, who I would want to. They are
Mhm.
going to try to steal my ideas. And if you go in with that attitude, that's exactly what you're going to get. right? But if you go in with the attitude of help me, an attitude of I need somebody to kind of bounce ideas off of. I need to just talk it out. I need to have a crying session, and I need somebody to just, bring
Yeah,
me
exactly.
down, because Virgo, she gets in there and she gets in the weeds. I am loving the part about planning. And then I
Yeah.
have to have somebody say, okay, what you gonna do now? Like, you gonna execute something? You gonna
Yeah,
actually
even so, I'm a Gemini, so I'm on the other spectrum of it. So it's like,
Yeah,
are you sure about that?
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
quite sure about that?
right.
But even when you're speaking about like how entwined our relationship is, I can also say it could be something as it could probably just grow. For
Mhm.
example, it can probably your accountability partner could be somebody that's like calling you every week or texting you every week and be like, "Hey, did you do something on that checklist? What does
Yeah,
that checklist look like?
yeah,
No, send it to me now, actually.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let us share
yeah,
checklists. Let us
yeah,
share." And it doesn't necessarily have to be completely engrossed like because we have like a friendship, partnership, like the whole shebang, because we
yeah,
line up a lot and
yeah,
we're like the yin to each other's yang, like
yeah,
for real. So I'm
yeah,
just saying, like, even when you have like an accountability partner, don't necessarily be like, oh, well, my relationship doesn't look like Malaceo's and DeAnda's. You need to find what is hashtag from DeAnda, the sweet spot for you. And maybe that's having 5 accountability
yeah,
partners. Maybe it's someone that can help you with your YouTube channel if you're doing that. Maybe there's someone that cares more about finances. Maybe there's somebody else,
yeah.
like, I mean, I feel like we're very lucky, but
Mhm.
also DeAnda was saying, be careful of what you're calling in, because we also seen that a few times. Is like, be careful of what you're calling in to yourself.
Mhm.
Try to find other people, but it's also figuring out what you want to do first, which is like,
Right,
I keep on
right.
telling people that, like, you can't help people unless you know what you want to do. You can't ask
Yeah.
somebody to do something if you don't know what you want to do. You
Mhm.
can't have someone be like, "Hey, girl, I'm here to make sure that you do this, that, or the other." You know you don't really want to do it anyway. You know that.
Right. And
Don't have
and
energy in.
I would get a little bit more in the weeds of that point of view in that. So okay, a great example. So we just came off of Exodus Summit,
Mhm.
and I think we were both just kind of like, oh my God, this was amazing. But everything in Exodus Summit 2025 wasn't for me, right?
Mhm.
There was amazing stuff from beginning to end, but
Yeah.
everything in it wasn't mine.
Right.
Everything in it wasn't something that I needed to take on and
Mhm.
add, right? So there were 24 sessions throughout the Exodus Summit was a three
Yeah.
day full, summit, right? Virtual
Mhm.
summit. And out of those 24 things, I pulled maybe 5 solid things, and all of them are not going to be fully executed because I'm not going to take on everything at once, right? And then what we did, Lacey and I, what we did was we individually like took our notes, went to the summit, took our notes, and then we came together as accountability partners. Hey, girl, this is what I got. Oh,
Yeah.
you got from this.
Mhm.
I think you mentioned for Terry Ujama's session on investing and
Mhm.
buying stock.
Yes.
Like, hey, that's going to be my plan B. And I said, well, wait a minute. Why does it have to be plan B? Again, I'm just throwing something out because that's what you
I
do
just
when you're, talking it through. It's
yes.
like, hey, why does it have to be a plan B? Why not? Because it to me, when you say plan B, you're saying that something isn't going to work. Your plan A isn't going to
Yes.
work. And
Yes.
so I wanted you not, because I believe that you call into, the words you use, the phrases, it's
Yes.
like, hey, let's
Exactly.
redirect
You're
the way
exactly
you're
right.
saying that,
Mhm.
you're getting ready to count out a blessing here by
Yes.
saying that you got to have a plan B. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, let's not call it a plan B so much as that is
Mhm.
something else that I want to look into doing, but I can't do it right now. And
Exactly.
that's what I mean by there were maybe like 5 sessions that were, I watched the replays on maybe like 3 or 4 times each, right?
Mhm. Yes.
That I can, kind of reincorporate into what I'm doing, some of the kind of main projects, if you will. And, one of them is YouTube, my YouTube channel. So,
Mhm.
how will I incorporate some of the things or some of the tactics that Rachel Rodgers mentioned in her
Mhm.
session?
Right.
What are some that I can incorporate into my YouTube channel? Not
Mhm.
something new, but that project that I already have going on, right? And
Right.
so what an accountability partner does is basically helps you unpack that, and
Mhm.
that's what you did for me. You helped me kind of look at my notes, look at, the stuff that came out, my outline that came out of, taking notes and watching the
Mhm.
replays, 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
and then reading her book and, all the
Mhm.
little things that we did, right after, in some cases, with Moda Goddess, I actually went to her
Mhm.
boot camp right after the Exodus Summit. So how do you unpack those things in a
Mhm.
way that is that will produce growth?
Yes.
That you then come up with, hey, these are tangible, kind of things that I want to kind of add to my checklist, and then you have your accountability partner hold you to that. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, you're going to incorporate this new thing, or you're going to add this new thing. Are you going to add it today? You're going to add it tomorrow? How does that work? And
Right.
what are those things that I need from you to add a support to get through those
Mhm.
things? And that's what accountability, or that's what we've done for each other. What?
And also tell them what you do
Ah,
and how your ventures,
yeah.
mind you, you guys, very quickly, she had a turnover time and being successful after she did her numbers,
Yeah.
just her manifesting, got it out the mud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is for you is for you, but this is your channel. And like you tell me, you
Yeah.
need to start telling people what you do.
Right. So I am a brand manager, personal brand manager. I've worked in
The brand
marketing
manager.
for over 20 years. And I basically help you get to your sweet spot, be it, if you're trying to get to the next level and brand yourself in your career, or if you are a solopreneur or entrepreneur, you own your own business, how do you brand yourself? How do you find your niche? How do you make sure that you stay within your niche? That is what I help you do.
Yes.
And um, sometimes that can be so overwhelming, when you think about it. And I know that, like, when I, came to you, it's like, how do I, talk about this? How do I, do this? And I had like all
Mhm.
these things. And what, kind of sometimes what it is talking it out, right?
Yes.
Um, Sometimes what it is when you're thinking, oh, I got to do all of this. One of the
Yes.
things that we spoke about actually last week when we talked about Rachel Rodgers' book, We Should All Be Millionaires. And we, did kind of book club style
Mhm.
chat on this book, and how we really got into the weeds on, you know, how do how can I, a Black woman who millionaire thoughts never, I'm not saying that I never thought about it, because I'm always thinking now I'm going to win the lottery, even though I don't play.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Right? Exactly. However, after Rachel Rodgers reading her book, as well as hearing her speak at Exodus Summit, what it told me is I definitely can. I have to just put in the work, but I can't do it alone.
Right.
And I think once I got that notion, and once I understood that, I think it made it a lot, I don't know, I just saw it differently. I saw, the finish line a little clearer,
Yeah, it was more accessible mentally
Yes.
in your head. You felt like it was more accessible because, like, even when you told me the story about when you did the numbers and you was like, "Wait a minute, it was here in front of me the whole time." That's just the thing. It's like also having someone to even talk to about it overall and just be like, "Girl, how can I do this? How can I not do this?" Because even when I tell her, because Team Too Much is this girl right here. I was trying to do everything,
Right.
any services you want, any ideas you want, girl. I got it for you. I was making a YouTube video every day for like a year straight, and I was working a 9 to 5. Okay,
Right.
so
And just living your life. Like, you got to throw that
yeah,
in. Like, people
yes,
don't understand, the stuff that you do every day. And I mean, you incorporate, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, fix your meals, you go to the, Abba Pond and buy your meal or whatever the case is. But
exactly.
you still, I mean, it's all of those things. And you're making a video, you're working your 9 to 5, you got a boss who's crazy, you got,
Girl,
a
don't get me
spouse
started.
or a
Yes.
boyfriend or whatever, or a kid, all of that stuff. But when you want something, when you want to work towards something, you do that. And doing it all alone, you get burnt out. And then you start looking at, oh, well, is this for me? You start, asking yourself questions like that. Like, is this really for me? And procrastination walks in the door, and, fear starts to, get in your ear, and you start to doubt yourself. But when you have an accountability partner saying, no, sis, you got this. You got this. What do you need support in?
Right.
And remember when I told you, because I feel like this happened not too long ago, and I was like, what I need you to do is, Lacey likes to go to museums. I need you to go to the museum, not to get content, but I want you to go and enjoy it.
I was like,
Go enjoy it. She was like, I hear the words that are coming out of your mouth.
yes.
But and I said it more than once. Like, I was like, because you think so. Let me back up just a tad, because being out in the world, because you're no longer in the States, and we'll kind of unpack what that means and what the difference is. But you're out there, and I think when you first left, when I met you, you were in Vietnam. You were still on the same work schedule. Like, she was still working basically 8-hour days.
I was working more than 8-hour days.
Yeah, it was more than that. Because when
Yeah,
is yours?
it was like 12.
Yeah.
Like anytime you called, I was waiting for them to go to dinner because that was my break.
Yes.
Like that was the end of my day. Anytime I woke up, I was sitting down at a cafe, at least one cafe, for a whole 8 hours, at least.
Yeah.
And we didn't meet usually until like what, 9-ish for dinner?
No, a little bit earlier than that, because remember, I had to be on. So you guys, again, I've talked about this before, but I worked my 9 to 5 while traveling, and I had to log on at 9 p.m. for the 9 a.m. basically shift, my work shift or whatever. So it was a little bit before then. We always ate maybe between I want to say maybe we would start, hey, where do you want to meet? Where do you want to go? Where do you feel like
maybe
eating?
a good 7.
Start that conversation maybe around 4 or 5.
Right.
And then we make our way to whatever restaurant we decide to eat at or whatever. But one of the advantage of that is all we had to do was decide, what restaurant do we, we didn't have to cook. We didn't have to go shopping to find, the food. So we didn't have to do our own laundry. So it took away those, kind of chore type of things that, you have to, contend with, because that's what I'm back doing, being back in the States. Like, I wash my own clothes and cook my own meals and meal prep or whatever. But it's a system to it. It's a system to it. And, you can easily get, burnt out if you don't apply, a system to it. I think I was asking you, it's like, hey, what was your routine? Like, when you were back in the
States. You don't want to know?
Yes.
You don't that I did in the States? You see how I work now when I'm free.
Right.
You don't want to ask me.
Yes.
At least I knew the emotional toll I was taking on myself.
Yeah.
But also I did not want to put that on anybody else, because I'm quick to be like, hey, don't do this. This is what, even the whole conversation we had about like LLCs.
Yeah.
Like, girl, don't do that. I wasted this much money. Like, there's
time and money.
So at least that's another part of it, is like, if you have somebody that has a little bit more experience in
some area or whatever.
There's so much out here, and 2 heads are better than 1. Because like, even with like all the AI stuff, between that, the prompts, even when I was like called DeAnda, I'm like, girl, I'm geeking out about all this Canva stuff. I'm like, this might be my whole entire workflow. I'm gonna like all of this stuff. But like, when you do have a workflow, and it's also hard to create your own workflow, even for you to know the terminology of workflow. And it's very, very, very specific. It's pretty much how you get your stuff done, just in general.
It's a process and timing and scheduling in which you basically work.
And money is also a big part of it too.
Right. And when you're in your kind of zone of working, which, we all get into those zones. Sometimes you don't come up and realize, oh, okay, this is somewhat of a toxic workflow that I've developed. I need to come out of that and go into one that's a little bit less stressful. I'm getting my rest. I'm doing it with ease and with joy, which will bring you back to it. When you're going in it with, or you're coming out of it exhausted and, almost regretting and dreading, then you're not going to easily get back into it. You're not going to easily start to really get your rhythm, and process it. So, you were right not to, kind of divulge, hey girl, I was getting up at, 6 a.m. and, recording my video or mapping out what I was gonna, talk about in the video, or whatever the case is, editing my video. Whatever the case is, because when you think about all of this little steps, because I think I mentioned to you maybe a few weeks ago, for me, the hard part is I don't know, a lot. Like there's still some, tools and tactics that I need for editing. There's still some tools and tactics I need for recording, actually, I think I got, the planning of it. I've got a rhythm there, that's good. I love that part because I love planning anyway. That's like,
I'm about to say, like,
that comes easy for me.
That wasn't hard for you.
I think that the part that I least like in the process of YouTube channel is the editing part.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like it. It's just time consuming. Again, a lot of that is because I don't know enough yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting closer and closer. The closer, the more and so once you figure out what are those tools? And a lot of that is talking to you. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, I'm using Canva. And did you see, this new thing with Canva and vidIQ? Did you go over here? And it's like, girl, I didn't even, yes, I, have an account, but I don't go over there. And you're like, but you need
Yeah.
to. You need to,
Yeah.
check it
I
out.
just send videos because I feel like videos is the easiest way to sort of be like, okay, this is what I've seen, and let me, give it to you. You digest it and see if it's right for you. Because even if it's good for me, doesn't mean that it's necessarily
Right.
good for you. But like I said, like there's so many things that's happening, and there's things that DeAnda sees that I don't see because I'm like so focused on Canva and workflow and social media posts and
Yeah.
what social media platform I'm going to be on. I'm
Right.
still
Yeah.
it's a mostly a hate relationship. I'm not gonna lie. 'Cause
I love it. Yeah.
I can't really turn it on where it's like business, business, business.
Mhm.
Like even though I do consume a lot of content from YouTube,
Mhm.
I'm able to turn it off and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing for myself. This is the basis of my business.
Mhm. Mhm.
But like TikTok and Instagram, I'm like, I'm,
Mhm.
and I'm trying and stuff like that. But even when I'm talking to DeAnda about it, and she's like, girl, like, listen, she's like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
do what you can do
Yeah.
what you need to do.
Right.
And, you know, even with that, like, we're sort of like walking hand in hand going through that part of our development as far as our businesses, we're pretty much on like the same level with that.
Mhm.
So there's a whole nother realm to even go about with like social media. But even another segue is I was telling you about what was it? Skillshare. And I was like,
Mm.
this
Yeah.
one video this is the stuff that you need. That one guy's video, not good
Yes.
with names, don't ask me. But this
Sumner.
video
Sumner. That's his
is
name.
absolute
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Absolute gold.
Yeah.
So
And
even
I
like
shared it with other accountability partners that I had because it is. I think I text you like when I got, I don't even know if I was halfway through it. And I was like,
no, I think you was like
I don't even think I was
30
halfway
something
through it.
minutes. I don't even think you
Yes.
was in an
And
hour.
I was just like, oh my God, this is like powerful. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. That is what accountability partnerships do for you.
Hmm.
One of the things that Rachel Rodgers mentions in her in the chapter, I think she calls it Millionaire Squad. That's what she calls
Yes.
hers. And one of the things that she mentioned is let's see, where is it? Uh, Women need other women to get ahead,
Hmm.
banishing the notion that we need a man to rise to the top.
Yeah.
And, hey, I'm not, shitting on people who that's work for them. Hey,
Hmm.
go do it. Love that for you. However, when we start showing up for each other, I think it adds to us showing up for ourselves because
Yeah.
it becomes this almost mirror type of thing. Now,
Hmm.
you said this before, how you develop or build your squad or find your accountability partner may not be the same way in which I did. Again, I walked into the restaurant, walked up to Lacey, introduced
I don't
myself.
even know what we started talking about. We started talking and we never stopped. That's the
Yes,
best way I could explain it. I can't even tell
yes,
you
that's that.
exactly
Yes,
how it even.
yes. It
Don't
was
ask me.
very, I mean, for one, I've never met a stranger. So, I'm
Mhm.
not the type of person who, I'll just stand on the wall and wait for, it's like, no, something about her. just drew me to her and walked in the restaurant and, hey, my name is DeAnda and I'm from, here and da da da. And, it was just like you said, we just never stopped talking. It just like never ended. And last Saturday, I met with a group of accountability partners, community, Exodus Summit community. It was an Exodus Summit meetup. We called it the Brooklyn Crew because there is a New York group that is probably about 1,000 women in that, which is a little overwhelming, just that number, saying that number for me. So I needed to bring that number down. So I think it was like 6 of us who met for a late lunch on Saturday in Brooklyn. And it was just like what we're doing, hey, we talked about, our favorite segments in Exodus Summit, some of the things, projects that we are looking to do. We also talked about travel, which is, a lot of what, is talked about in Exodus Summit is, either exiting, sabbatical, just taking a break or what have you, and how best to do that, and just with my experience of being out for 5.5 months, hey, how did you do that? And what did you do? Like, what was the catalyst for you doing that? What moved you? And I can say from the start, it's Exodus Summit, Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dowe, period. Okay. We can just say that. Right. So then you go further and, again, using my favorite, phrase, unpacking, what were some of the things that you had to do to get there, to then leave, and go. And I will say one of the points, and I think Rachel Rodgers speaks about this, Stephanie Perry always talks about this, is a plan is a plan is a plan. But if you're not able to pivot or just say, hey, I think I was planning to, only be out for 90 days, but, I got here, I got and I was like, I'm going to stick for a minute. I'm going to stick,
because pivoting is a big part of it, especially with, you can't plan it. Technology is moving. I wouldn't say it's moving too fast. There's a lot going on. And you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
It's not to scare anybody, but it's, you don't know what you don't know. There's always something cheaper, faster, better, right around the corner. And, just to let you know, not to scare you, but.
And it is being in community and hearing people's stories and knowing, oh, okay, she went down that path and it was wonderful. Right. And then she went down the same path and not so wonderful. Should I do it? Should I not? Some of that, you have your accountability partner, or you tap into community, which I will say, I'm going to go ahead and say that right now, is Exodus Summit community. You can find that at exodussummit.com/community. And I think it's like $1 to join or whatever. It is just one time you pay the $1, and it's only $1, y'all. And only for Black women. I need to say that too.
Yes.
At any rate, once you get in that community, you go in there and let's say you're in, New York, and you go into the New York tab and you say, hey, y'all, I'm thinking about in 3 months moving to or doing a scouting trip to Portugal. You're going to have at least one person who's saying, I'm going to be there too, sis. Look me up when you get down, or I'm already there and I'll still be there when you come. Look me up when you get there, and I may be able to show you or introduce you to the landlord that I have, because I know that there will be a vacancy. Just like you have, once you get in community, y'all, once you get in community, you find your tribe, you find your peeps,
Mm-hmm.
That is when you know it's right. So I knew I knew staying in Vietnam for longer than 2 weeks because that was my plan. I was only going to be there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I knew that it was right because things started to align. That's when, I met you within that 2 weeks. Um, I met so many people who I now
Yeah.
call a part of my community, a part
Mm-hmm.
of my tribe,
Yeah.
part of my squad, right?
Exactly.
And that includes, Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dowe. That includes them
Mm-hmm.
because they were there, right?
Right.
And you can tap into those resources. You can tap into those relationships. You can
Mm-hmm.
tap into that community to find out, hey, some of it you're going to have, this is life, right? Lifing
Yeah.
is some of it you got to do on your own, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like you said earlier, once you know what it is, you're already halfway there, but you
Yeah.
have to know. Now, if you're trying to find an accountability partner, or you're trying to get in community to have them say, well, Malaceo, you need to go over here.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for that, this is not for you.
Or you
You need
should not be experiencing that.
right. Yeah. It's
Okay.
not for you because there's gonna be people who will be
Yeah.
happy to tell you where to go and how much to spend and da da da
Yeah.
da. But you've got to inject some of that. Okay, this is what I want. I want to bop around, or I want to move to Portugal. I want
Mm-hmm.
to bop around Southeast Asia,
Mm-hmm.
for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is how I want to do that. Oh,
Right.
well, there's basically a community that supports that. There are
Exactly.
people who will support that and help you and support you in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving to Portugal. There is Exodus Summit community that is already set up shop, and all you got to do is tap into
Mm-hmm.
it, and boom, you're there and you got it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Even if it's, right now, I need to be in the States right now, for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still get in community knowing that, in 2 years, in 3 years, I want to be in Portugal. I want to be
Right.
in Mexico City, you
Right.
know. In the meantime, this is the work that I'm going to need to do in order to get that done, and get there,
Right.
right? And that is what I think they all mean, the Rachel Rodgers, the Arlen Hamiltons, the Rashida Dowes, and, this is what they mean by getting in community.
Yeah.
One of the things that Rashida Dow said, in terms of finding your accountability partners, like, I found mine in Stephanie Perry. You can have her.
Evidently clear every time they have this conversation.
Yes. And I need to make it clear, you cannot have her, and they complement each other. And I feel like we do too. There are definite things that you are a superstar at, and I let you own that. That's yours, right? I let you own it. And I think you do the same with me. It's like there are definite things that, hey, that's your lane. That's the stuff that you shine on. And you're going to own those things. And when we bring it together, it complements and it adds. It doesn't take away from. And that's what a relationship is, period. Right? I think about the other accountability groups and or partners that I have. Like I have another friend of mine. We have a standing call once a month. And on that call, we develop, I want to say at the very least, 3 bullet points. Hey, this is what I'm going to be working on until the next time I speak to you, in another 30 days or in another, 31 days, whatever the month. And, we may check in with each other, on social media because we're also not in the same city or state or whatever. We may do check-ins, send each other article. I saw this article, this might be good and something that, that's on your list, what have you. I was pushing and, really hoping that she would read Rachel Rodgers' book, We Should All Be Millionaires. So, I threw that out there to her and I was like, here's a link and, blah, blah, blah. So, the support is sometimes you may not speak to them every day. You may not see them, until because I don't know when I will be in the same room or same country as Malaceo. I really don't know.
Right.
At this point today, what is it, 13th of November? I don't know. However, it doesn't matter because of the support that she will provide to me and me to her can be done anywhere. And a lot of times we don't even see each other when we talk. We don't get on FaceTime. We don't, none of that. We just calling.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
called old school. Yeah, old school.
No,
really.
we be like on the phone for like, what's our average? Not just hours, like because you can say 2 hours in 30 minutes, but
we've done
on average 6 hours.
I think we've done actually an 8-hour thing, but I want to say 6 is probably our
8
average.
hours and some change. Yeah.
We've done, I would say on average, we've done a good 6 hours solid. Girl, and when I say we A to Z, it's it's like, what's going on with your channel? What's going on with my channel? What's going on with, your family? What's going on with my family? Yes. We got a joke here. This is what's happening over in Thailand or wherever you are. And understanding how to bring it back to, how can I support you, sis?
Which brings up a really good point. So this is a conversation. I don't know if you noticed, I just thought about it just now. But when I first met you in Vietnam and I just had all these ideas and I'm just spurting out just like all this stuff. And you was like, sis, you're putting the cart before the horse. You're doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then it started to click to me. And I'm like, she's right. But I'm like, even if I get 1 million people viewing one video tomorrow, do I have the bandwidth to support these people? And the thing about it, by the time the next country I went to was Japan. So this has to be a month or two. Yeah. And DeAnda's asking me, Lacey, what is your opinion about me, setting up, I think he was trying to do like scheduling for like consultations and stuff like that. And I was like, if you had them, and it's like I regurgitated the conversation or the resolution I had from that conversation. And I'm like, do you have the bandwidth for that? You need to have digital products. You need to have this, you need to have that. And we are literally circling. And every time we're circling back, because it's also not just, hey, make sure you A, B, C, D. It's not just that, but it's also holding, your friend, your accountability partner to, one, the standard of, we said that we want an easy life, a soft life. We want money to come to us. Why are you working harder?
Yes.
Make yourself keep that standard.
Yes.
First.
And y'all, we if you're American, especially African-American Black woman, it's like you already know you just have this standard of, okay, I gotta add. And when you said that, it was like screeching halt, because the answer to your question, do you have the bandwidth? Absolutely not. I do not. I have no room. I have no room on the plate. There is no more room. Like, it is packed, and it's like up to here, right?
Yeah.
So you saying that, because when I said it to you, it was like a, this kind of, I could see it in your eyes. You were just like, okay, wait, you are correct. That is, you are 100% correct.
What am I doing?
I'm trying to do too much, but we're conditioned. We automatically go to let's add.
Yeah.
We go to let's add. When you talk about the word, when you even say the word rest and ease, when you say that, I want to say maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and you would think, because this is my 6th year with Exodus Summit, and this is Exodus Summit's 6th year, that I would know better. But you have to have it constantly said,
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you're doing this so you can have an easier life,
Mm-hmm.
not a harder, not more stress, not more work,
Mm-hmm.
but easier.
Yeah.
When we heard Mo the goddess say she works 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
again, she plainly said, and she made sure you heard her. If you were really listening, it's like I didn't start off like that.
Mm-hmm.
I started off, working every day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I have put the processes in motion so that all I work, when you really add it all, it's 4 hours. And
Yeah.
then I'm in Bali enjoying my life.
Yeah.
In the States, I'm enjoying my grandkids. I'm enjoying my kids. What? Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get my nails done. I'm
Absolutely.
doing self-care. I'm doing, you know what I mean? I am pouring back into me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we hear that, we're like, okay, what, she's special. How is she so, I
Right.
can't be that because I have this, I have that. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of that is your reasons to not do it.
Right.
A lot of that becomes the reason to not do it. To
Right.
me, to me, right? And so, but
Mm-hmm.
when you start looking at, well, you're right. I want to move towards a paradigm where all I'm doing is working 4 hours in a
Yeah.
week, in a
Yeah.
week, right? And
Right.
she broke it down, for us in that she said, that 4 hours is not necessarily, a full hour on Monday, a full hour. It's like broken up like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I will put 15 minutes here, and because of the systems I had, I
Mm-hmm.
backed up my videos. I got a whole system for, filming and then editing and all the things. And so much so that she is now incorporating, hiring, somebody to film her,
Right.
hiring a film crew. Like I'm there now, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm hiring somebody to do all my editing. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
even have to look at that, And so when you
Right.
hear stories like that, you're like, oh wow, that it's doable. It's not like so far out of reach that I can't think of myself like that. But
Right.
the main
Exactly.
ingredient there is ease
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that you can't do it alone, that you need to, you know,
Delegate. Yeah.
delegate,
Mm-hmm.
delegate. And like I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, my sister said, "Hey, get the job that she has interns come in." She was like, "You should get
Mm-hmm.
you an intern." And I was like, "No, it's going to take me too long to try to tell them what to do and da da da." She
Mm-hmm.
said, "Okay, okay, all right." It's like she didn't
Mm-hmm.
argue with it. She didn't go back and forth because that's not her style. So but now, after it took me reading Rachel's book again,
Mm-hmm.
and talking to you, it's like, okay, if I take basically an hour to kind of map out what can I delegate? That's the first thing.
Yeah.
What can I delegate? And then what can I get an intern or a virtual assistant to do? That busy work that I don't want to do anyway. Like I don't want to do that. I really don't. I want to give that to somebody else, which is why it's not getting done because I don't
Yeah.
want to. Not that I can't do it.
Girl,
I
you
just
already know what my main two is going to be. I want a person that is going to taxes because I'm going to be paying the big bucks,
yeah.
and then somebody who's going to be dealing with like I guess like the legal stuff, but also
Mhm.
like the post and the editing,
Mhm.
like the post and editing, that little,
I
I like to
think
find a person all in one to do that.
yeah,
Not the
most
tax,
of
that's
the
going to be by someone skill.
successful YouTuber or content creators that I follow, all talk about how they have somebody else doing that part. It's that part that it's like, I don't.
That right there is just a whole full-time job by
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
By itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I spent like earlier today, I spent the entire morning mapping out the next, I want to say next 6 months to a year of content, just mapping that out. That's not exactly what we're going in. These are just topics that I'm interested in covering in the next year.
Right.
Some of that is kind of not completely mapped out because some of it has to do with what's going on politically, what's going on in the community, what's trending right now. So it's kind of like, it's like, because even when we talk about hair, it's like, we talk about nails, like what's the new thing? What's the thing should I be putting on my nails? Should I be putting on my hair if I'm, in Mexico City versus in Atlanta? You know what I mean? So it's that kind of stuff. But if you have it mapped out, some of that becomes a little bit easier, since I don't have an assistant yet. It's like, what are some of the things that, mapped out that I get there a little bit closer, get closer to those goals, closer to, manifesting those things, One of the things that has to be said is, watching your words. Remember I told you, we talked about that a little bit earlier, watching your words. I go to therapy every 2 weeks. I talk to you. I mean, all of these things, get poured into the soup pot. And when you have an accountability partner there to support you in doing those things, it does become a little bit easier.
Yeah.
No, work is going to be work. It's going to be work, right? But when you're doing something that you love doing, that you enjoy doing, it does become ease. It does become ease. And once you do figure out, the best way or the best route to edit your stuff or to batch your stuff, it does become ease. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. One of the things that I wanted to read from Rachel Rodgers' book in her chapter, The Millionaire Squad. And this is towards the end of that chapter, but I wanted to read this. And she says, the journey to your $1 million empire does not have to be lonely. With clear intentions and key action steps, you can build a supportive, resourceful network of women to connect and consult with every day. Here, and then she goes into, kind of mapping out. And I already told y'all, it's also the link in my description of this video on Lacey and my conversation book club style on this book. But this is a workbook. You should use it as such. This is a clear workbook on getting in community, building your empire, without apology, and doing it in a way that you can actually see the forest for the trees. Like you can see this can happen for me. I can make $1 million, what you mentioned about me finding my number, that was something out of this book. It's like, find the number, and don't shortchange yourself, which is what I was doing. I was shortchanging myself. I really was. I was leaving money on the table. What I was thinking should be my monthly, should be my weekly. And if you think about that, like I was leaving money there. That should be my weekly, not my monthly, right? So when you think about in those terms, when I, talked that over with you, you were like, come on, girl, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And that's what it ends up being. You get in step with somebody who, I mean, I dare say that they always have to be like-minded. because sometimes you're not gonna, like I said, be in the same industry, be in the same country for that matter. We're not
Yeah.
even in the same gen. Like, aren't
Yeah.
I'm like, we're not even the same age
No.
group. But it fits.
Mm-hmm.
It fits, right? And we found this rhythm that works, and that's what I implore you all to do when you're looking for your accountability partners
Mm-hmm.
and just building those accountability partnerships. It doesn't have to be just one person. It could be a group. Like I said, I, went to dinner or went to brunch on Saturday,
Yeah.
and it was 6 of us, and we're still in our chat, hey, you know here's this information, here's a link to that, check this out. Oh, you're going to Portugal, in a few months. Hey, here's some information on that. Just always support,
Yeah.
support, support. You
Because
don't
you
have
know
to.
way more. And that's another thing. You know way more than you think you do. I didn't realize how much I knew until I started telling people what I was doing to get to where I was at. So you never know. And I think especially as Black women, we shortchange ourselves, we gaslight ourselves into thinking all this knowledge that we have aren't isn't good enough, is not worth anything. But it could be
Yeah.
the world to somebody, even if it's because, like I said, it's even that emotional support. Like,
Hmm.
you're worth it. You should be
Yeah.
charging this amount of money. You
Yeah.
should be tripling,
Hmm.
doubling how
Hmm.
much you're. And
Hmm.
if you don't necessarily like, you should be choosing who you work with. If you
That
want to
part.
work with somebody that's more corporate versus like people, like, or a certain type of clientele versus another type of, it's your life.
Hmm.
It's your business. You can
Yeah.
choose who you want to have dealings with or not. Like,
Right.
it's all the freedom. Cause like I
Yeah.
can say that because for me specifically, I was definitely shortchanging myself.
Hmm.
And even when DeAnda's like, girl, like, you guys don't understand. I was offering services and then also making videos and then also like making a whole brand about my life and traveling. Like, I was doing it all. Okay. Like, I had 3 channels when me and Deanna first met. Okay. So, and even me being in my shell for like the longest, I'm like, well, I don't necessarily want to show my face and blah, blah, blah. But having her, and she's like, hashtag what is it versus at the end of the day. Cause
Another
like,
one of my things. Yes.
right, like, you put that shit on his t-shirt. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like, what am I hiding? And
Yeah.
I was like telling you, I think it was our last call, maybe the call before that one.
Maybe.
But I was saying that I was watching this one lady, or at least I came across her channel,
Hmm.
and she's living like sort of like a more regular, like she's not traveling or
Hmm.
whatever, like a 9 to 5, and she
Hmm.
has like 1 million subscribers.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what made me think that I could not
Mm.
do it?
Yeah.
Just me going down the street and just going to a freaking 7-Eleven to
Right.
get to show people the type of coffees that they have here, like at a
Hmm.
7-Eleven versus
Hmm.
like,
There is an audience for everything.
yes. And I just
Everything.
I as a person wasn't like, I don't know, like interesting enough or captivating
Hmm.
enough. But really,
Hmm.
when it came down to it, it's just like people will be enamored with you, just your lifestyle, just like what you get up and do every
Hmm.
day.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
doesn't have to be anything crazy or spectacular or even like super inspirational, even though it can be.
Hmm.
But it's that emotional support that
Hmm.
women give each other, and especially when you understand, like, the work 2 times as hard to get half of what other people get and all this other stuff. It also keeps people, well, it keeps other women to understand you and have empathy without you even asking for it.
Yeah.
or trying to fight for it, because there's so many levels of understanding that you get, even with Exodus Summit community. You don't have to explain yourself, which that's
Right.
you already know that's one of my triggers. Explain myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you
I
like, why am I
mean,
explaining myself?
I mean, I think that, finding your community or getting in community doesn't it's not a one note, route to getting there, you know.
Yeah.
Um, every because I mean, before I was in basically in community with you, I met with three other women.
Mhm.
Well, first we were doing it online, like on a Zoom every week, and then we moved to every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, and we were all in different industries. All of us
Mhm.
were in different industries. Not one was, not two was in the same. And we met to offer support. We
Mhm.
met to, encourage, and I want to say maybe 60% of that was career and um travel,
Mhm.
but most of that was just adulting,
Mhm.
the everydayness of being a Black woman in America,
Yeah.
and how are you doing this, sis, and how should, how can I support you in doing that, you
Mhm.
know, and that's in part, that's what accountability partners do. It's
Mhm.
yeah, we're talk about, our business. We do. No lie. We do. We
Yeah.
absolutely. But I think the overwhelming thing that comes out of our conversations is just the everydayness of, you know,
Mhm.
adulting out there.
Yeah.
It's like, girl, it's hard. It was hard. I'm exhausted. I'm excited about what I'm doing, but I'm exhausted.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
then like, I mean, last week I actually had that conversation with you, and I was like, I decided that I'm basically going to, kind of, be a little bit softer with myself this
Yeah.
weekend, and I, went to museum went to the MoMA on Friday, and went to brunch on Saturday and went to brunch on Sunday, just like really, got into my, lounge football clothes on Sunday
Mhm.
after brunch, and it was just like, you know, but
And
you
decompress.
yes, you have to find those things, tap into those toolbox. Like I said, your mental health also includes your health. Some
Mhm.
people don't, include that or think that and you absolutely have to,
Yeah.
particularly in the climate that we are in right now. One of the things that has supported me of late because of the political climate that we are in the United States
Mhm.
is I fully curate my news.
Yeah.
Prior to the election, so on, the election day was on a Tuesday. On that Wednesday, I woke up and I turned off all of my, news alerts. I used to
Mhm.
wake up with NPR. I no longer, after that on that Wednesday, I stopped doing that. So
Mhm.
I turned off all those things. Then when I left the country, it was much easier to curate my news.
Yeah.
Really easier, almost, null and void. But what I
Mhm.
did was I kept that up once I moved back to the States, because
Right.
those things impact you, you
Mhm.
know. You start taking on, we had this conversation, you start taking on the stuff that it doesn't
It's not
necessarily
yours.
affect you. It's not yours. Like,
Mm-mm.
yes, that is horrible that is happening. That
Yeah.
is horrible that they are cutting off food stamps, SNAP benefits for people across the country. That is horrible. But today, right now, where I'm sitting, that is
Mhm.
not. And if I
Yeah.
take that on as a stressor for me right now, that is not going to get me closer to my goals. That is not going to get me closer to tomorrow, actually, because I'm going to
Yeah.
be just stood still with, oh my God, the oh my
Mm-hmm.
Godness of it, which is
Mm-hmm.
real. And because I was listening to a podcast today and they were like, oh, it's just shit. You know, the US is just a hell. And if
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, how could I live in it? If I
Mm-hmm.
believe that, and again, I believe that it's sometimes the words that you say, the words that you incorporate or bring into, how can you manifest good? How can you manifest greatness, ease, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking that you're living in hell? Because it
Mm-hmm.
don't go together. It can't go
Yeah.
together. And then when it comes to accountability partners, and this is a phrase that I often use, and this is real talk, y'all.
Mm.
And we're gonna, begin to wrap up in a few, but if you do not if you're not able to put your oxygen mask on, how can you put it on someone else? When you're on a plane and they're telling you about, the exit strategy or whatever you need to have, and you need to put your oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else. Well, if
Mm-hmm.
I don't put mine on first, Malaceo should not take any, should not listen to me if I don't have mine on, and me
Yeah.
her if she doesn't have hers on, because what she's giving me is not real. It's not it's not what I need, right? Um,
Exactly.
and yeah, there's going to be some, we're human. So you're going to come up against, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling blue. Yes. Yes. And that's the day that I'm not putting my oxygen mask on. So that's not when
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be talking to you about, hey girl, how can I support you? Because I don't have my oxygen mask on. I
Right.
don't.
But I feel like you have to also, even if you are feeling down, because we are all human, let it be stuff that is about you.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah.
audacity for
Yeah.
once,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially Black, have the audacity
Mm-hmm.
to be selfish.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
act like, because I can speak, I'm speaking for myself too. It's like we act like it's going to kill us. But then you have to sort of understand, like, why is it so important for me? It's one thing to care or whatever, but it's like that hyper drive of putting in action. So you're
Yeah.
already in that mindset of I got to work 2 times harder to get what half of what other people get. And then you got the mindset of I'm going to go and I'm going to worry about this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this stuff, this, and this, all of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
that's happening.
How?
Stress is taking
Yeah.
Black women
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
It's
Real
taking us
talk.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I will say this every time because it is crazy
Yeah.
to see people, women like hunched over. Your body will attack itself.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
I know they tell you you can do everything. You can do everything for yourself.
Yeah. At
And
least start there. At least start there.
sit
If
in
you
that.
start there, you
Yeah.
will be able to put somebody else's, mask on if they need it,
She also
But if
said that in her book too. You don't
yeah,
have to be on the ground
yeah,
advocating. You can pay and give them the money directly
mm-hmm,
and put that in your
mm-hmm,
pipe and smoke it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
she said
yeah,
it. Rachel Rodgers did say that in her
mm-hmm,
book that you
yeah,
have the money, you have the power. With money comes power, whether people
yeah,
like it or not.
yeah,
And you can
yeah,
put money directly on the ground zero. You have
yeah,
way more power. You have the finances. You can make things move the next day.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And she also gives
mm-hmm,
examples and stuff like that in her book of
right,
other, not
right,
just her doing it, but other people doing it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And if you do feel like advocating, then that's just what you can do. Because even for me, I'm like, when I become like a super millionaire and, not having kids or whatever, if I can have a whole foundation and give my money to Spelman, then that's just what I'm going to do. If I want to build a whole bunch of houses and stuff like that for women and their kids up in the Georgia mountains, then that's just what I'm going to do. And nobody, and that's the thing, like nobody has to hear about it. It doesn't have to be this whole elaborate thing, but putting yourself on the front lines, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you can put that energy and be comfortable. And I like that. I prefer that actually for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, it also goes back to, you start stressing about the stuff that's in the news, the person who's in the White House. These are things that you cannot control, but what it becomes, or what I think people use it in, and it goes back to that saying that I said, it gives you a reason not to.
Yeah.
Gives you another reason not to.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't move to Portugal because, I heard that they're going to cut off the SNAP benefits. But are you on SNAP? No, but isn't it a shame? It is.
Yeah. Girl, we heard some things out in the international streets. We had people say that they wasn't letting American citizens back in the United States. Shade, no shade, all shade. But it's just like, I guess you don't want no taxes. Because that's what I'm hearing. Like, that's what these American ears are hearing, girl. But it's just like the fear-mongering.
If you go by all these little, first of all, that makes absolutely no sense. Because they don't want us to leave in the first beginning. So why the hell wouldn't they let us back in? So what? Say less, sis. Like, I really need you to stop, right?
And people believe, like, obviously people, you would assume and hope that people believe what they say, but it's just not even being sure in yourself. And if you let things like that, like, rattle you and stop you from doing anything, like, it's just the fear mongering, and how fear grows into this monster. And it's almost like the kid that's like, oh, there's a boogeyman under my bed. And it's just, it could have been a sound in that imagine, because I still got that imagination. Okay. It's gonna run wild, and you try to keep a tab on it and be like, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. Make a list. You have to understand fully why you want to do something and why it's important to you. And especially having an accountability partner. Like I said, sharing a list or whatever, doing collaboration on a list, and you can be like, girl, I need you to A to Z it for me. Like, I'm feeling this type of way. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling vulnerable. I feel like I can't do it. I feel like I can't do this, that, or the other because, I'm all by myself. And some of that could also, you can, have to unpack that, because a lot of the things that I've noticed with people is that you don't want responsibility for a possible failure. I don't necessarily believe in failure no more, at least for me, because I know how hard I work, but I more so believe in what's for you is for you type of situation. But you guys, like, it's right there.
Right there. And just to add to, failure doesn't have to be a bad word. It really doesn't. Sometimes you fail because you needed to do it differently, or you don't need to do it at all. And some people look at it, oh my God, then that means that, I shouldn't move out of or I shouldn't start a business. You're right. It may mean that, but did you do this or did you do that? Oh, well, I did that. Oh, well, that may be the reason why you failed, And again, we're not getting into, too much detail there. But, when you think about, you can always find a reason not to do it. You can always find a reason not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when we've, come up across those situations where, there's the feeling overwhelmed or, just like too much or whatever, I think
Mm-hmm.
we've both been able to tell the other person, you are doing a lot. You are not
Yeah.
wrong. You're doing a lot. So let's
Yeah.
see about taking some stuff off that plate a little bit
Yeah.
and easing it a bit,
Mm-hmm.
like, because you're supposed to be doing this, enjoying what you're doing. That's the first thing, and you're not going to get closer to that by, running yourself, pulling these all-nighters, for, 7 nights in a row and thinking that you're not going to be tired, you know. That particular example actually happened and she needed to be pulled back in, you know. Um, but the thing is, one time we did it together, and was just like, oh my God, we're pulling the all
I
nighter.
mean, that
And
was great. It was almost like a summer party, but
it
working.
was good
But
times. It was good times. But then, I think we both, after, I wanted to say, what was it? Maybe like a month or two, maybe
mhm.
2 months after that, we were like, it was good, but it wasn't good. It was
No,
good. We
yeah,
did it.
work on it.
But
Yeah,
we
it was
don't need to do it.
absolutely.
Yes, because what we're trying to strive for, that's not the level of giving up our, sleep, giving up ourselves,
Mhm.
sacrificing that,
Yeah.
to get closer to it is not the way we want to get there, you know.
Hmm.
And those are the things that an accountability partner, getting in community, will allow you to get to. So we've, really kind of unpacked a lot. We've given
Hmm.
y'all quite a bit of how we ended up coming together and building what I call like a powerhouse accountability partnership,
Yeah.
which will propel us into, um, millionaires.
Hmm.
It's having a millionaire mindset. It's knowing that, wellness and health begins with, or includes that mental health,
Hmm.
knowing when to pivot, having that, in there, doing away with, the whole notion of doing it alone and
Yeah.
getting in hustle mentality. Look, it's out of my vocabulary. I don't even use it anymore. I don't use that
Mhm.
word anymore. Hustle, get out of here. I don't want to be
Yeah.
hustling for nothing.
Yeah.
It's all about ease. It's all about joy. And hustle doesn't, that doesn't do it for me anymore.
Yeah.
So, I want to thank you all for joining us, and remind you to, get in community. You don't have to do it alone. Build your squad. Find your peeps, find your person, start with just one, it doesn't have to be, a whole school of people.
Hmm.
You can start within your family. You can start within your house,
Yeah.
but start and figure out your whys. I think if you know your whys, that'll get you closer to developing your community that will propel you to success.
Yeah.
And I think once you do that, you'll find your sweet spot in it. You really will. You really
Hmm.
will. I know I have. I know I have. I love where I am with regards to my accountability partners and in the
Hmm.
communities that I'm in. I really do. As I said before, you can find quite a bit of the resources that we spoke about in this episode in the description, including a link to Exodus Summit Community, Rachel Rodgers' book that we spoke about, Malaceo's channel,
Hmm.
so you can catch up on her travels and her journeys, as well as the discussion we had a few weeks ago on Rachel Rodgers' book, We Shall
Yeah.
Be Millionaires. So that's also in the description. And yeah, I can't wait to continue the conversation and hear more
Hmm.
about how you all are getting in community. And I encourage you to, drop in the comment section on if you have an accountability partner. Put an emoji in the chat letting us know that you have one, or you're on your way to having one.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I just stay grounded, stay glowing, and we'll see you next time.
And like, subscribe, and share.
Please. All right. See you later.